Okay, so it's been about a month, and I've used this in a lot of different situations. I've pitted against the GoPro, and I've learned a few things. I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you, along with fatal flaws and quick fixes. Check it out. All right, so the first thing we're looking at with this is the audio. Now this thing is awesome because it's got 4 microphones, which means, of course, you can get audio from either the front or the back. You can switch back and forth and it's fine. But one of the problems is, of course, when you handle it, you end up covering up a lot of these audio ports. Now, another thing is when you're in regular mode, it actually has wind reduction on. And I went into pro mode and turned off wind reduction. This worked much better. Now you can go into pro mode and fix this. So the other part about the audio that you can fix is by getting a monopod. And I'll show you why this works out so well in a quick clip here. So here you can see the setup. Here you've got the Pocket 2 and then the ball mount. And this just allows you to curve so that when you're walking and talking, you have it curved at an angle that's gonna work out for you pretty well. So that's what I did out in the woods, is I had this curved setup, and it gives me a lot wider view. My arm is out a bit if I want, or I can adjust it like this. It doesn't matter. Angle I want to get, I can get. And I can move around from side to side and go way up and way down and get all these different angles. And it's a lot of fun to use a monopod. You get a lot more versatility out of it than just having a wide angle lens. And then when you want to, you can just take the monopod, flip open the thing, set it down on the ground, make sure, of course, it's weighted down, but you put it down on the ground and then you just start talking. That's exactly what I did right here. I just set it down on a post and then just started talking. And it's great to have some walk and talks, but it's also good to just stop and talk a little bit and then keep on going. And again, monopods are great for getting all kinds of different. The other fatal flaw that I found was with face tracking. Face tracking, I don't think face tracking works very well with this. But what does work really well is the active track, but you have to use the app to get that to be used. Here's the third fatal flaw that I think in having this setup, and that is it doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi unless you go for the full creator package. It doesn't seem like in this day and age, with all these devices, they already have that in hand. Why should you have to pay extra to have that? I don't know. What I did do is get the little extender package, and it allows me to have that Bluetooth and use the app. So now I can use the active track effectively. But what's so funny about this is if you look at the bottom, okay, it actually doesn't have a port. So you can't put this on a tripod, which is so odd because if you have this on, most of the time, if you're going to be using this wirelessly, then you're probably going to want to have it on a tripod. I mean, I know I will. So that's a serious limitation. Luckily, with this, there's a fix because now you can actually have this little device on there and then paired with something like this, you can now have that on a tripod just fine. So that all works out well, and you're still not paying as much as a creator combo. In editing this, I figured out something you'd want to avoid, and so I definitely want to show you travesty. Okay? And I want you to avoid the same travesty. I'm going to show you how this happened. When you put this little attachment on, it clamps down. Okay, so what I did stupidly is I put it up here, and what happened is it clamped down right here and busted the screen. So of course this was very stupid of me, but I figured somebody else might do the same thing. To make this work, you actually have to take off the little piece and put in the plate that goes right here. Okay, and then you have to make sure it's down below the screen, and that way it's not going to touch the screen and clamp on it and bust it. So I know this was kind of stupid of me. It wasn't going on that well, and it was actually seeming to be a faulty design. But in fact, it was me just not putting it in the right place. But I didn't see anything to indicate that's where it should go. So definitely my fault, and that's why you should definitely get the care package. But eventually, I'll get the power pack that allow me to power this. And it'll go on here so the plug can go in the bottom. Now, I know at the outset that might seem like a workaround that you might not want to do, but when you put all this together, having this being able to angle on a monopod or whatever else you have it on, I think pretty key in having it getting some cool shots here and there and being able to really just be a little more dynamic with it. So I definitely still stand by my choice, but it is something to note and definitely wanted to put this in there so that you don't have the same thing happen to your screen. If you want to keep 24 frames per second, you go 1/50 for the quote unquote cinematic look. Then of course these are going to come in handy. There are a bunch of them out there, and you can check the reviews on this. I find this one has worked out pretty well so far. Still want to do some more testing. The only other fatal flaw with this is the battery life. Very short. So this is one accessory right here that I'd love to get. And what that is a battery pack. And it allows me to charge a phone. It allows me to charge a device, maybe a GoPro. A lot of different other accessories. You see them, now you see the battery packs and they're just for the Pocket. Those I don't find versatile. It's better to use something that you can use with multiple devices. That way, when you're out and about and you need to charge different things, you should definitely go for it, which is one of the reasons why I didn't get the creator combo. Now, looking at the power pack, I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't going to work out so well because the bottom is where this attaches. And unfortunately, that's also where the power pack goes in. So instead, if you have this can attach to the power pack, and then the power pack can actually plug in to the bottom here. You're in the wind and you need to record, definitely getting something like this, a pocket recorder with a lav mic, will work out really well. And it's relatively inexpensive, and it can be used with multiple different devices instead of just one. So definitely recommend it. A lot of people will use Tascam products for weddings. There is another alternative. It's a little bit more. It's right here. But you don't need much. In fact, this thing works right off the bat. You can get nothing with this and just go with it as it is, and it would work really well. But if there were one thing that I were to get for this, above all else, it would definitely be the Monopod, because it allows me a much further reach, better angles, and better audio because I'm not blocking the port. Where this comes in handy is being able to just take it out of your pocket and use it wherever you are. It's really easy. In some cases, it can be actually much faster than a phone. I've also used it as a second camera, as a main camera, but one of the best features is that tracking, because it almost gives me like a second cameraman, and I've been able to create some videos with it, and having that second tracking is so cool. You can have cameras in multiple locations and have that movement so that you wouldn't have to do in editing, which is really cool. I think it comes in handy as a second camera, doing some B-roll, or in some cases just vlogging with it, and that it works out really well. Overall, definitely worth it. Check out the accessories and the links down below. And if you found this helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.